Hello, so today I'll be showing you how to create a simple star field like this in Blender so that you can use it in your animations or projects inside of Blender. So let's get started. Making it in Blender is very simple. So first we'll go to a new file. So we can start by adding a simple plane so that we can use it as a reference for the ground. Yes. Now once that is there, we'll go to the shading tab. Then we'll go to rendered view. Maybe let me just turn this on. Yeah, so that you can see what I'm doing. So once you go to the shading tab, what you're going to do is you're going to go down here, go to the shader type, and you're going to select world. You'll change it from object, you go to world. Now once that is done, you'll zoom out and then you'll see these two nodes, which is now the world shader. So if you change the color, it changes the color of the world and the lighting. So first we are going to start by adding a color ramp. So you can just go search color ramp and then you add it. Next you are going to add a noise texture. So what you're going to do, we are going to connect this factor to this factor here, and then we are going to connect this color to color here. So as you can see, it has changed the world to something like this. So, and if you do this, it controls how the world looks, but this is not what we want to create. So what we're going to do is we're going to change from linear, go to constant. So once you've done that, now the interpolation will be constant, meaning that it won't ease in to black or white. It will have a constant interpolation. So once you've done that, and now you can see it looks something like this, you'll go back to the noise texture, go to the scale and increase it to something like 300. Now you can see it looks something like this. Now once you've done that, you can see it has changed how it looks. So what you're going to do is you're going to use this color ramp to control how visible it is. So you're going to take it down to somewhere like there. That feels more like a natural sky. And nice, there you have it. Now you have our star field that you can use in your animations or films or projects in Blender. But we're not done yet. I want to show you how to create a nebula. Also, if you're curious, you want to change the color of the stars, just come down here, click on the white button, then you can change it to whatever color you want. But I think me white, tint of blue, that works for me. So next I'm going to show you how to create a nebula cloud. So first you select these two, you duplicate, and then you put them down there. Then what you're going to do is you're going to add a mix color node. So you go down there, mix color, put it there. So you'll connect the first color ramp to the input A, and then the second color ramp to input B, and then you'll turn all this all the way up to input to a factor of 1 so that we can see what we are doing down here. So you'll come down to this color ramp, change back from constant interpolation back into ease, and then go to the noise texture, to the scale, bring it back down to a value of 5. Now you can see how your world looks like. Once you've done that, you can now come back here to the color ramp and then use the color ramp to control how much of it is being seen. As you can see, it still looks a bit weird, not similar to how nebulas look. So you're going to come back here to detail, add and increase it to something like 5. Yeah, I think 5 works. Now you can see there's a bit more texture on it and it feels like real clouds. So once you've done that, you come back to the color ramp, control it to however you want. For me, I think this is a bit too much. I'll reduce the clouds something like there, because nebula clouds are always barely visible. Yeah, I think that works. Then now you're going to go back up here to the mix color node, and now you're going to return it to a factor of 0.5, which means they will mix color A, which is this, and color B, which is this, into a value of 0.5, 0.5. But we don't want that, because as you can see, the nebula clouds still look too visible, and for stuff like this, the beauty is in the subtlety. So you're going to reduce this to something like 0.1, and now you can see the clouds are barely visible. And maybe now we can change the color to something like purple to give it a more spacish effect. Yep, now we have it there. Also, you can use this value to control how visible they are. If you increase the value, it will be more visible. If you decrease it, it will be less visible. But let's say we do this 0.5 and we don't want to control it using here. We can just come here and then we just do this. Yep. You can do the value between 0 and 1, and then now you will control how visible your nebula cloud is. For me, I think that works just fine. So now that is done, we already have our starry sky, and then we also have our nebula clouds. What we are going to do next is we are going to come here to the noise texture, and if you have the node wrangler add-on turned on, you'll just press Ctrl T and it will add mapping coordinate nodes, and now you'll have control over the position, location, and scale of your world texture. Now, for example, if I wanted to move around the stars, I can come here to rotation and just do this. Move it around slowly like that, you see? Yep. Now, but I don't really want to move the stars. I think let me move this a little bit. What I want to move is the nebula cloud. So I'll select the noise texture connected to the nebula, then just do Ctrl T and it will give me the mapping coordinates. Once I've done that, now I can just come here to the Z rotation, and now as you can see, the nebula clouds are moving. Now, if you want to animate your nebula clouds, you're going to do this. So just come down here to the rotation, expand your timeline here a little bit. So you're going to make sure that your timeline is on keyframe 1 or 0, or just anywhere on this side. Then I'm going to hover my mouse on top of this, and I'll press I to add a keyframe to this. And as you can see, now there is a keyframe here. And then I'm going to move my timeline all the way, let's say, to frame 240. And then I'll go back to the mapping coordinates, and then I'll just move it a little bit, not that much, let's say by 5 degrees. And then again hover my mouse on top of this and then select I. Then I will add another keyframe. Now if I go back here and press play, I go to the first keyframe and press play, you can see now that my star field is animated. It's not moving much, but it's moving slowly. Yeah, and that's just my preference. If you want, you can do something like maybe 20 degrees and then keyframe that, and then now when you press play, it will move faster. Yep. And that's it. You can also change the light maybe to something like blue, because normally in sci-fi films rarely do we use like strictly white lights, something like that. Or maybe let me go for the purplish vibe, yeah, something like that. So yeah, and there you have it. You have your star field with a nebula cloud that you can use in your projects and your animations. You're welcome in advance.